My mother-in-law secretly baptized my son against my wishes, so my wife and I fought about it, only to find out she was in on her mother's plan. Now I'm consulting a divorce lawyer after having my in-laws kicked out of their church. My wife and I have a 2-year-old son and have been married for 4 years. Our anniversary was a month ago, and we found a nice, secluded cabin on Airbnb and rented it out for a long weekend getaway. My wife asked her parents if they would be willing to watch our son, and they agreed as long as we dropped him off at their house. That worked for us since it was on our way anyway. I was raised Lutheran, and my wife was raised Catholic. But neither of us currently attends church and has not had our son baptized. My mother-in-law knows this and hates it. She thinks our son needs to be baptized, or else he'll burn. She's that kind of Catholic. So, we go on our trip. When we pick up our son and ask how the weekend went, my mother-in-law says everything went fine and that she has saved my son's soul from the devil. I asked her what she meant, and she said she had our son baptized that morning at her church. I tried my best to keep my cool so I didn't scream at my mother-in-law in front of my son. I pretty much grabbed my son and left. On the car ride home, I was fuming and told my wife as calmly as I could that this would be the last time her parents had our son unsupervised. She tried to downplay what her mom had done, but I told her we must wait until we got home to discuss it because I'm not fighting in front of my kid. Things got heated when we got home and had a chance to talk about it. I told my wife I no longer trusted her parents with our son and that if they did something like this behind our backs, I couldn't trust them to respect our wishes as parents in the future. I said this was a huge breach of trust, and I will forever look at her mom differently. She continued to try to defend her mom, saying that she was only doing what she thought was best for her grandson. She downplayed it by saying that it's just a little water and a few words, and we don't go to church anyway, so what does it matter? I told her that I would not allow her parents to watch our son by themselves again. I said we could still let them see their grandson, but only if we were present. If she doesn't see the big deal with this situation, maybe we aren't on the same page as parents and may need to see a counselor. She started crying and said that this wasn't the kind of decision I had to make on my own. She said I had no right to dictate the type of relationship her parents could have with our son. I told her that I no longer have any trust or respect for her parents and that I don't know if they can do anything to repair that. I told her I didn't care if that made me a jerk, but what her parents did was unforgivable in my eyes. They put themselves in this position to lose privileges with our son. She's been trying to convince me to change my mind for the last month, but I'm not budging. Update 1. It turns out some of you were right. My wife was in on it. I confronted her a few days after posting and asked her if she knew that her parents planned this. She broke down and confessed everything to me. My mother-in-law had been bugging her about baptizing our son nonstop, and my wife finally caved. My wife has been working from home since the pandemic, and my job requires me to go into the office. My wife and mother-in-law started doing Zoom meetings with a priest to begin the baptism process. They lied to the priest and told him that I was okay with baptizing our son but didn't want to be involved. The priest allowed it, and they started doing online baptism classes while I was at work. My wife admitted that she planned it around our anniversary getaway, and that my mother-in-law had convinced the priest that she and my father-in-law would be the only ones in attendance. My wife told me I wasn't supposed to find out, but my mother-in-law couldn't keep her mouth shut for even one day. They intended to keep this from me permanently. I did contact the church to let them know the truth. I talked to the priest, and he was surprisingly helpful. He said he would take the proper steps to ensure my mother-in-law is no longer welcome in their church and to reach out to the local parish to see what further steps need to be taken. I have yet to hear back from them on that. My wife and my mother-in-law are mad that I got her kicked out of her church, but I don't care what they think or feel anymore. These people I love and trust had betrayed me, and I felt many emotions I didn't know existed. My wife begged for forgiveness, but she didn't come clean on her own. I think she would have kept this from me unless I confronted her. She's willing to do therapy, counseling, whatever it takes. I don't know if I want to put in that work. I feel like there's no coming back from this. I contacted a divorce lawyer and started discussing what a divorce would look like. I asked if there was any way I could add provisions to a divorce agreement that would keep my in-laws from seeing my son unsupervised. He's been accommodating, but I have not given him the go-ahead to actually file for divorce yet. I feel I am still too angry about the entire thing to think rationally, and I want to give myself time to fully grasp what a divorce will mean for me and my family. My wife and I aren't talking much. I pretty much go to work, come home to play with my son, go to bed, and repeat. I don't know what the future will bring, but I do know that without the support and help from people here, I wouldn't have the clarity I do now.